What's going on, guys? This is Alex Tex K, and welcome back to the channel. I know I've been a little bit MIA over the last couple of months as far as consistency on video goes, but I am back, and today we're going to talk about your top 3 holsters for the CZ Shadow 2. I have been using all 3 of these holsters for the last couple of years, after really narrowing down throughout the other options throughout the industry to really find what the best options for high speed and reliability when it comes to a holster can really be like. So at the end of the day, the 3 holsters that I've ended up with are the Big Dog Steel Carnivore, which comes in at about 120 bucks, your Hydra P from Ghost, which comes in at around 100, and then your GX Vice from GX Products that comes in at about 140, 150 bucks. Now, the Big Dog Steel you can pretty much get almost immediately. The Ghost ready to ship. GX, there is a wait period that everyone who runs them is well aware about. You can wait anywhere from 6 weeks to 6 months for a custom GX. But at the end of the day, the demand is so high that it is that way. The GX Products is one of the nicest holsters on the market across the board from reviews from a super large amount of guys and gals who have used them. The Hydra P is a lot more popular in the 3 gun feeder, and the Big Dog Steel is just across the board for everything. Especially USPSA, some of the fastest shooters in this country run Big Dog Steel carnivores. So let's talk about what I like about them and why I chose the one indefinitely that I have chosen. So let's start with the Big Dog Steel Carnivore here. This actually is for my DWX because I did send my DWX to the guys at Big Dog Steel so that they could form one to be able to offer a DWX holster. So in return, I got my own Big Dog Steel. I will say this is my absolute favorite holster for my DWX. I have ran it with the Shadow 2 as well. The DWX holster does not fit the Shadow 2 though. You need to get a Shadow 2 Carnivore, but it is a extremely just there is no friction whatsoever. It is like a hot dog in a hallway, but not in a way that you have all this up, down, side to side movement. It's a lot more like they took the form of the DWX, added, a 16th to an eighth of an inch all the way around, and then reformed it. So you get this just absolutely frictionless, and I'm going to drop it, frictionless pull. And it comes with a finger lock. So, and this is a 60-ounce gun. That is a great lock. The lock holds on. It's not one of those I can muscle it out type locks. It is a legitimate lock to make sure that with that nice smooth pull and lack of friction, that you have the ability to lock the gun down inside of it so you don't worry about it falling out. But they do have a really good trigger card buildup around here. Not too much extra material hanging around the holster. I have mine set up to work on my Henning T1000 hangers. And you do get a spring and little knob here to adjust for tension without having to pull out the tools. So, toolless adjustability, finger lock, an absolutely effortless, frictionless pull with a nice open cut at the opening. So on draw, you can get that gun up and out as soon as possible. So that is your Big Dog Steel Carnivore. Next, we are going to talk about my Hydra P from Ghost. Now, this is a level 2 holster. This is something that I generally will use for 3-gun if I know that I have to be doing some running with a loaded gun in my holster. I can do that with my GX the way that it sits, but it's a little bit more of an effort to unlock it, as I will show you in a few here. But the Ghost Hydra P, this is a multi-use holster of mine. I am able to use this on multiple firearms. It is a CZ SP01 TAC Sport holster, so it does fit all of my CZs, Shadow 2 Compact, Shadow 2 Full Size, TAC Sport Orange, and my DWX all in one holster. So I would say that the Hydra P is definitely the most universal. If you're a big CZ guy, you got a bunch of them, and you want one holster that's going to fit a lot of your guns, that Hydra P has been the most universal holster that I have owned. I love this thing. It does have also that wide opening up in the front here, as you can see. So again, just like the Big Dog Steel, as you pull, it'll come out almost immediately. Now, that still isn't the most open of the three, nor was the Big Dog Steel, but we'll get to that. It does have a finger lock here, but it's not like an on-off switch like the Big Dog Steel. It is a lever that, as you can see here, with the lever engaged, I cannot get that 60-something ounce gun out of there. I can't. I'm not a weak guy. I can't rip it out. So I'll call that a good lock. And as far as effortlessness to be able to undo the lock, this does take the gold of all three holsters, as it is just your middle finger here. As you come up the back of the holster, you're just going to flick that little lever there, and it moves very, very easily. It's not spring loaded or anything to where it's going to go on its own if you barely knock it, but it does not take much. That's it. And as you see, that lock comes right up. Again, these are the Henning T1000 hanger attachments so that I can quick on and off with just a single shuttle. But all in all, the other big benefit to this holster was that I can actually take off the shroud and just run the trigger guard itself as a individual speed holster. So you do get a lot of versatility out of the Hydra P, and it is the most generously priced. So the Hydra P definitely has a special place in my heart for what they have made up with these. It does seem to be an FDM printed shroud, and then it is an aluminum, machined aluminum trigger guard and base. So that one also works for my DWX, like I said, and I will show you that here. As you saw, that Shadow 2 comes in and out very easily. Well, here is it in the Hydra P. Same thing, like nothing. So when I run this holster, I'm able to run both guns. It's great, especially when I have long spurts of teaching and training, and I don't have a lot of majors lined up like in the winter time. I like to run this holster so I can have a lot more fun. But outside of that, this one does come in at $100, like I said, but we are going to now tap into my favorite of the three, and it is not by any massive leaps and bounds as to why it is my favorite, but is simply because of one feature out of my GX Products holsters that the other two don't have. And what that is going to be is this speed cut here. So as you'll see here, see how this just fans all the way off to the left. Now, mind you, the Big Dog Steel doesn't fit a gas pedal. The Hydra P does have a cutout to where it will fit pretty much any gas pedal. But that is how Leif over at GX Products does it for gas pedals, and it's called the speed cut. And whether I'm running a gas pedal or not, I'm still running the speed cut. So as you see when I drop this thing in there, it leaves that whole open inside area there so that I don't have to wrestle pulling the gun straight up out in the gas pedal around the holster or the hanger. He really thought of everything as a competitor himself to think what makes the most effortless draw. And I truly have it with this holster. You got to think that that speed cut is open directly in the direction of your midline. So when I have this holster on, as you can see, that speed cut is coming towards my center line. So what that allows me to do is to draw and push the gun in. So as I do that draw, you'll see I start sliding the gun into that speed cut. So I'm able to get the gun up sooner, start angling it towards my target sooner. And there is, again, like the Big Dog Steel, absolutely no friction in this holster whatsoever. Now, as far as locks goes, he does use a vice lever. So as you'll see here, you pull this up and it pulls in from the other side and just pinches the holster down. Now, as you just saw, I can still break it out of there. Can you adjust that? Yes. But the point of it for me is to make sure that if I hook guns with someone passing them on the range, or otherwise, or I need to sit down or anything like that, that it's not just going to fall out. But if I do need to rip it out, I absolutely can. So this is third place as far as retention goes, although it's adjustable across the board. This is first place as far as ease of draw and how soon you can get the gun up and on target. But all in all, especially if you're getting into competition with the CZ, which they are competition guns, I really highly recommend any of these three holsters. Choose whichever one is going to fit what your needs are in particular. I have no affiliation with any of these companies either. I just want to make that clear. But I will still religiously use these three holsters across the board for pretty much everything that I do. Even when it comes to a duty aspect, I still, for some reason, like to use my Hydra P. Even when we're whipping out the night vision and going gooning with the boys, we're still sitting there using a Hydra P. Most guys are out there with the Safari Land with the full covering. Well, if I get extra mud in my shit, I get extra mud in my shit. It is what it is. Usually a couple rounds blow it right out of the optic. So, but all in all, if I had to rank these from best to worst, that's really hard. I'm gonna do it though, and this is in no way truly saying that one is that much better than the other. But it's based on my personal preference here for my particular needs of speed. The GX is definitely my favorite to draw from. The Hydra P is my favorite for versatility. And the Big Dog Steel is my favorite if I'm trying to break records. If I'm trying to break speed records. So all in all, they're all great holsters. I highly recommend any of these three holsters, especially if you're getting into competition. Get a good holster early because I have ran all three of these holsters for a couple of years now. They all still run flawlessly. They have no issues. Nothing's broke. They haven't lost any of their integrity. And they all still work extremely well for me. So, all in all, you guys give a GX Products, Ghost Hydra P, or Big Dog Steel Carnivore a try. Let me know how you like them. If you use them now, let me know how you've been liking them. If there's anything you do or don't like, share with me. Give me your feedback. But all in all, thanks for tuning in, guys. This is Alex Tech Kate signing off. Please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys next time.